Welcome to another edition of the Independent Creator Podcast. And tonight, we're actually going to be discussing some topics that some might deem dark and mysterious. That's right, we're talking about AI. I know, AI has pretty much been the de facto topic of many different places and websites and podcasts and discussions pretty much everywhere. You can't avoid hearing about AI. I'm bringing AI to you guys as well. So tonight, let's actually dig into a little bit why AI might be important for your workflow procedures, and not to be really afraid of it, because AI is not going to take your gerbs. It's it's something that if used correctly, it can help you make your podcast editing or your video editing process, cut it in half, pretty much go from, like, it usually would take you an hour to something like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, because it can do a lot of this repetitive stuff that you would have to do. AI can take care of it for you. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And let's actually dig into video side of things. Now, there are a lot of different things out there that help you with editing your video. And most of those are like what's called Word document or text type of editing. That is, what I mean by that is like Descript. Descript is a very good example of that, where you can record or upload your video podcast or your video into Descript, and what it'll do is go through your file, take out all the silent parts, the uhs, the filler words, pretty much, and you can go through and edit as like you're editing a Word document. It's actually pretty cool, and I have used it in the past, and it does take some, I shouldn't say it takes some thought in how to go about it, but it does work in a way that speeds up your workflow. So let's take a look here. I have it pulled up. Now, this is Descript, like I was saying. It's, again, you can record directly into it, or you can upload your video into the Descript editor. So let's actually go ahead and take a product tour. And like with anything, you have your video player, you have the timeline there at the bottom. On the left side is a transcript of what is in your video. And you can go through there and take out a whole entire section. And what Descript will do will truncate, or pretty much what's called in the biz a ripple delete. Will take that part that you had just deleted and take it out and move everything up to that point. So your video becomes shorter. And there are all different ways that you can go about this. You can actually export it to YouTube. You can export it to like a video file that you can actually use into DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro or anything like that. And further editing, and you can do all sorts of different things with it. But basis of this is AI. Well, it will go through your entire video file or even audio file, really. And the nice thing, well, I should preface this with that it is nice to say, but the thing is, there is also another element that if you had messed up, let's say you had a paragraph that, it didn't quite fit, or you wanted to do something different, you can type out what you want it to say and insert your digital AI voice into it. Now, I know some people saying, well, that's like on the edge of creepy town. Yes, I can say that is on the edge of creepy town. You can have it learn your voice mannerisms, and how you speak by going through a script and reading the script, and have it record and then send that off to the Descript's servers to go through your AI process and pretty much make it sound like you are speaking the words, whatever you type. Now, there are also some examples that are in there as well that you can use for free. There's some famous voice actors. I don't really know the name off the top of my head right now, but you can use their voices as well. It's just kind of like, I'm sure you've heard on, or if you've been watching on YouTube, there's those faceless videos that they definitely have that AI sound. How their speech pattern is like, oh, and it's also going to be a very good time at, and the pilgrims, and you can tell because it's just the tone, the connotation of everything, and the way that it speaks doesn't really sound like human-ish. I know I go that route too, but at least I'm human last time I checked. But Descript is a very powerful tool that you can use. Now, Descript is not the only thing that you can use for taking care of video files and going through the process of editing as like a Word document. You can do that in the paid version of DaVinci Resolve. I believe it's like $300, but it's a one-time payment that you don't really have to worry about anything else. It's not a subscription, Adobe. But there is that fact that you can use DaVinci Resolve, a video editor, to go through and edit in a Word document style. You can also do the same thing in Premiere Pro. Of course, that's like a $20, $22 monthly subscription for Premiere. But the aspect that you can use AI to go through, and that is like a very thin definition of AI. Yeah, it's going through your transcript and pulling stuff out that you can go in and cut out even further. But there are other aspects. A lot of people, especially in the gaming live streaming space, they'll use a service called like CapCut, or there's another one that's just coming out. It's still in a waiting list that it's not really fully fleshed out or available publicly. Rivr.com, I think it is, where it uses AI to go through your live stream video, and I'll pull out all the clips that you would think that it would be, or actually it would think that would be interesting, like clutch gameplays or headshots, or last man standing or anything like that. That kind of service had been around for years in the form of AthenaScope. And if you've been a live streamer since probably before COVID times, AthenaScope actually was the de facto AI clip generator that was out there. And it actually did a very good job. What it would do is go through all of your live stream, like how many hours that you went through, and basically also say I was playing Overwatch, so it knows what to look for, like victories or defeats, or kills, deaths, and stuff like that. And it'll put little snippets as little clips that you can go ahead and take out and put on like TikTok or Twitter or wherever that you wanted to do that. And what it would also do smartly was take those clips and putting it into like a 2 or 3 minute montage with a DMCA free soundtrack, pretty much, that you can say, oh, this is like a montage of my best clips for this week, that you can post on your social media network. So unfortunately, I'm not really sure why AthenaScope actually disappeared, because it was just for some odd reason. It was 1 week, it's like everything was going great, and then they posted out on a tweet that we're closing up shop, and the next month, and if you want to save anything, well, now's your time to go in and download what you got. And unfortunately, there wasn't really anything out there that was at that level that AthenaScope was taking part in. And only a couple years later, CapCut came in with AI, or actually I should say AI came into CapCut. And then we have Rivr, and we got some other places out there that are part of what you would think AthenaScope was, and maybe also improved on the initial format of what AthenaScope offered. So there are a lot of things that AI is capable of doing that it's not this doom and gloom thing that a lot of people that you see on social media or anywhere else that, oh, AI is taking your jobs. It is the worst thing out there. And well, it can, and when used incorrectly, but that's the thing is that it's just like with any tool. You can injure somebody with a hammer or a saw or kill them, but the thing is, it's a tool that's designed to do one thing: cutting wood or cutting material, and that's all it knows. That's all it's built and designed for. So with AI, to think of it as like something that is inherently not good, that it's if you use AI, then not a you're not a true creator. You're a pretender. You're a poser, and that's something that I think a lot of us have to get over because I'll keep harping on this. It is a tool if you use it smartly. Like I mentioned, CapCut. CapCut basically will do what you want it to do. Take your videos and put it into like 30 seconds or 60-second segments that you can take, edit to make sure that you have to go through and make sure what it produces fits your brand, your lifestyle, and what you are wanting to put out there. Just don't take it, say, oh yeah, it's good, and I'll just go ahead and upload it to TikTok, and that's it. I don't have to do anything else. It does all the work for me. You still got to put in some work. It's just don't be lazy. So it can do like the captions and all sorts of different stuff. You can do share it with, like, if you have an editing team, you can share it with them. So it has grown up from its early days. And I also want to take a look at, so let's go ahead and move from like live streaming video aspect to, okay, you doing a podcast like what I'm doing here. So with a podcast, you can use this as well, but with a podcast, it's a little bit different than how you want to go about your workflow. And one of those things is by using a AI generator for transcripts, for writing out like a blog post or a newsletter or LinkedIn post, or just getting the chapter markers or getting title ideas. And this is the best way, I think, that instead of, yes, you can do it yourself, but you're going to save yourself a lot of hours for each episode having to go through and do this yourself, when you can go ahead and use like a program like Podium. Podium will take your file, your audio file, and I'll go through its AI thingamajig and say, okay, this is what comes out. And we'll do a transcript. It does a episode summaries. It gives you keyword listings that you can use on, YouTube. And if you post it up on your YouTube channel or anywhere else. So yeah, episode summary. It also does different show notes that it gives you different options for show notes. I think, yeah, it gives you 3 different versions of what it thinks that your episode was geared towards. Let's say for this episode, it'll give me like a casual type of flair to it. And then another option would be more friendly. And then another one would be like a professional style. So you can choose which kind of show notes or episode summaries that you want to choose to post up on your episode guide or within your episode description. So it does a lot of different things. And you can do, like I said, chapters. It does have what they call Podium GPT, where you can say, okay, take this episode and write me a blog post describing this episode. And it'll do that for you. And then you can say, okay, take this post or take this blog post and truncate it to less than 500 words. And then I'll go ahead, edit, and do the parts that is more relevant and stuff like that. So in saying all that, I would like to also say that these things are not cheap. You're paying because they're using a lot of system resources to go through and do all this work for you. So it does cost some money. Looking at Podium, you're going to look at, you get at least 3 hours free to try it out, but let's go ahead and go with the monthly. So if you want just 3 hours a month, like you have to have very like small or very short segments or episodes and stuff like that for $14 a month, and you get 3 hours a month that you're only allowed, that it'll go through and do this for you. Now you can bump it up. Let's say you want to do, because I was using it. I got on the early bird pricing before they upped the pricing. So I was paying like $30 a month for 10 hours. That was only good for like a couple weeks at the end of it last year, early this year. So now it's $47 per month for 10 hours. Then of course, if you do yearly, yeah, that's going to be $40 a month for 12 months. You do the math. And that is just for the creator line of things. And there are other options out there. You got Cast Magic that does pretty much the same thing. This is a different service that you can use. The pricing on that is a little bit different. 300 minutes. They go by minutes. So it's 300 minutes for $23 a month. I know that's annually. No, I'm sorry, that's monthly. For monthly, it's $40 for the 300 minutes. Starter is $100 a month for 800 minutes. Now, I know what you're saying. It's like, holy crap, that's expensive to do this stuff. I might as well, do it myself. Well, yeah, you can do it for yourself for free, but you also got to think about, what is it actually costing you in time? So let's say you do like a 1 hour podcast, which the independent creator is typically a 1 hour podcast. It is usually shorter than that, anywhere from say 35 minutes to 60 minutes. So I'll go through, I'll do the editing, I'll clean out everything. And I also want to go through and make sure figure out what is the good chapters. Like I'll see which particular section is for chapters. And then I'll have to type out the transcript, do it all myself, listening through, stopping, starting, typing it out. And that's going to take hours. That is what you have to think about. And when you look at doing any kind of production stuff, especially for podcasts, is the transcription, doing the subtitles, chapters, chapter notes, keywords, all that stuff you have to do. Is for one episode, it could take you a couple hours, or you can pay someone to do that and they do it for a couple hours, or you can do AI and it'll do it. And like most of the times when I was doing it through Podium, I'll do a 1 hour podcast and it'll take like, when you upload it, it's about a couple minutes. And then for processing, so anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes at most to do everything, depending on the length of the episode. And 10 to 15 minutes, let's say 30 minutes at tops. 30 minutes, it does a transcription for you. It writes out all the show notes. It does a keyword listings. It gives you different kinds of show notes that you can choose from, and also chapters. So all that for $40 a month or $50 a month. It's kind of like, okay, I can see where my time can be saved, where I can let that do its thing for like 30 minutes and I can go off and start building up for next week's or the next episode, or I can start working on doing some clips or anything else that you can think of. I can be doing other stuff while it does, the boring, tedious work. So that's why I say with AI is kind of like, use it as a tool, because it is a tool that you can use. It's just, don't rely on it completely, because it's not going to get everything correct. There's going to be spelling mistakes. It's not going to hear exactly, because I know in my case, when I would say gilded, it would type out Gilded, but Gilded, not Guilded. Like the company name is Gilded. And I would have to go through and do like a find replace of the Gilded with the correct spelling, or Owncast for some reason. It'll spell it correctly halfway through, but all of a sudden it'll start misspelling it in the later part, or vice versa, or mixture throughout the whole thing. So it's kind of like you have to be its editor. It's doing all the hard work for you, but it will make mistakes. So you still have to have that mindset that I will have to go through and edit and make sure what it's doing is doing correctly. And then you can also have it learn from you, or learn from your editing, and try to make itself better. Now you can also there are different things. We're still on the podcast side of things. You can do trying to get it open here, is use a service that is browser based that integrates that AI workflow in the back end for you. And one of those is Riverside. Now, if you were part of the live stream from the last episode, or you watch it later, you might have noticed something that was a little different. I used Riverside in order to do my recording for the independent creator for that particular episode. Now, Riverside is a great service. If you don't have the computer capability to do, live streaming and recording, or one or the other, and you don't want to purchase or upgrade your computer, what you could do is use a browser-based service like Riverside.fm. And what Riverside does, it gives you the option to do the recording and the live streaming as well. And the nice thing that with Riverside is that you are producing a product that you can set out there for, let's say, for live streaming, but it also uses your computer resources to do a higher quality recording that eventually gets uploaded to your account. One of those things, it does also utilize AI, but I'll get that in just a moment. But you can set it up where you can stream by using your computer's, let's say if you have a laptop, you use your laptop's camera and you have a $30 Fi-Fi microphone. Just plug it in USB into your computer and use that. That's all you really need to do a great podcast. And that's a lot of people are thinking, or they get hung up on, is like, I have to have the latest and greatest. I have to have a $2,500 camera set up with the correct lens. I need mounting, and I need a $400 Shure SM7B, and that needs to be plugged into a Rodecaster Pro 2. I need all this stuff. No, just stop. Really, you don't need all that stuff. You just need a camera. You don't even need a camera if you don't want that, but you can use your phone, you can use your laptop or your computer's camera, or pick up a C920. They're cheap. Just pick one up. They're less than $100. Sometimes less than $50 if you buy it from Facebook Marketplace. But the thing is that you don't have to have the latest and greatest, and you don't need to have the latest and greatest computer to run all this. You can have just the normal computer. That's it. Because all of the processing and most of the recording, especially in Riverside's case, is done on their servers. So with AI, going back to AI, it does the transcribing for you. It gives you all the transcription of your episode after you're done recording. It does a subtitle file for you. And the nice thing is also, it will take out all the silent parts in your episode. It's like I had a silent part right there. Now automatically take it out using AI. And then I also have AI for, creating clips that it'll go through your episode and figure out, okay, well, this is talking about TikTok in this one particular 30 or 60 second segment. We'll take that out and then set it up for that you can go through at a later date or afterwards when you're editing your entire episode. You can go ahead and say, oh yeah, I like that. I'll post it up on TikTok or wherever and use that after editing it. Don't be lazy, editing that particular thing. So it has a lot of AI capabilities within it. And truthfully, this has I would use if someone was asking me, I don't have a great computer, what would I do if I want to start a podcast? Well, I would direct you to Riverside because, in my personal opinion, I'm not paid or sponsored by them at all. Hint, hint. If you want to send an email my way, that's okay. But anyways, I would direct somebody to Riverside because the pricing is actually affordable. Well, I'll show you here. Let's go to monthly. For the pro plan, which I would directly, it's $30 a month, but you get 15 hours of separate audio and video tracks per month and recording. Now, that is if you use the Riverside.fm's recording feature, like on the website themselves. But if you record off of their website, you can upload your videos and get all the same glorious AI and transcription, subtitles, and all that good editing through that. It doesn't affect your time at all, which is a great thing because you can pay $30 a month, get all the stuff, and be perfectly fine. And if you don't, you can use their recording feature, and that's great. If you have like an hour podcast and you do it for every week, you're only using 4 hours of your 15-hour allotment. So you have a lot of, leeway and buffer to do a lot of different things and using their AI system. So that's why I say I'll direct people over to Riverside and to try out their service and see how it is, because it actually is pretty good. It's a great feature, or it's a great system that they have set up. And there are other places. There's like you can use Restream Studio, has similar features. It's I think it's about the same, but it doesn't really give you all of the AI goodness that Riverside does. There is the Streamlabs version. I think it's called Melon, that you can do the same thing. It's more for it's more for the live streaming. It does recording, but you don't get, let's say with Riverside, you do get 1080p recording. Let's see, to compare plan. So you get, video quality recording for desktop. You get up to 4K on the Pro. So if you have a 4K camera, you get up to 4K recording. And if it's on mobile, and you can also use your phone too to call in or do a show on the road, and it gets 1080p, which is perfectly fine for YouTube video podcasting. So think about it, that how you use AI within your own workflow, that's a great feature, especially for podcasting. Now, when you look at the different things, say, okay, that's great and all, but what else can I do with AI? Well, I do have to say that AI does provide you different options for, let's say, for writing. And one of the great things, all the products that I've been showing you right now is stuff that I have used in the past or had used just recently. Magi AI, I don't know how you would say it, Magi AI, does a lot of great things for, writing, setting up for trying to find great title ideas. It's the essential, it's based on ChatGPT, but it kind of adds their own flair to it. So what it does is great, because I use it a lot of times for trying to figure out, okay, video ideas. Give me 10 video ideas on Gilded, and you also put in like gilded.gg, so it'll go ahead, look at the website or whatever you're looking for, and then I'll give you, okay, well, this is what we have here. The nice thing about Magi, I'm going to stumble over this name, Magi, is that it also incorporates personas. What personas are is like how you would talk to or put in for Chat GPT, like pretend you are a YouTube editor and go through that. Or pretend you are a copywriter. Pretend you are whatever. Magi has that built in where you can select it's a YouTube was a I forget exactly what it was, a YouTube editor or a YouTube professional, a copywriter or a script writer. Even had like all different profiles or personas that you could use that puts a different spin on what it's going to present to you when you give it its prompt. You can also do custom personas, and then you can do upload files where, like it says, instantly feed the AI important context by uploading any type of document right into the chat. You can do that with a paid chat GPT that you can create. Like, I know Leo Laporte over on Twit, he was working on wanted to learn a programming language called Lisp. And what he did is create a persona that only would look at all the books that he would upload or have it digital upload to it, and it would only look inside those particular books and that particular context. It wouldn't gather stuff outside. He had directed it to say, only look inside these resources and answer what I want, whatever I ask of you, which kind of, is a great thing because it says, oh, look at this stuff, and it's not tainted by, whatever is on the web. It only knows information that you gave it. So this is also very similar. Pricing, I know they just recently updated their pricing or up their pricing. Professional is, so you get like 80,000 words, 20 workspaces. That's typically what you want to do, but you got also Personal Plus is 50,000 words, and that's like $20 a month. Oh, and it does also a little bit of image generation as well, so it has kind of like that Mid-Journey DALL-E aspect as well. And of course, you can have different prices for like agency, enterprise, Professional Plus. So you just have to go through and figure out exactly what you want it to actually do for you. And you can do different folders where it's like all stuff that is inside. So in the end, I would suggest just to play around with it. Don't be swayed that AI is going to replace content creators, because I know in the description on YouTube, I posted up that recently with Sora that Tyler Perry, he was going to do a studio improvements, like $800 million on his studio in Georgia. And after looking at Sora, he's like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. That's, I don't want to say it's kind of like fear mongering, but it kind of is. It's like, yeah, it can do a lot of things, but it's not going to have that human touch that we as humans can see. The picture, the portrait of this person has 6 fingers, when I know they don't have a 6th finger, not the 6-fingered man, and prepare to die. But we know that going into 2024 and then the future here, that AI is just going to get better and better. Look at the past, not even 10 years. It's been let's say 5 years with AI, and how much it has leapt itself every year going forward. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's just going to get better and better. If we use these as tools to make our workflows faster, and we can have AI work on, the boring, tedious stuff that we would normally spend hours and dreading on going through it. We'll let AI do it in 20-30 minutes while we'll go through and set up like another episode, or we'll be working on a script or doing something else that normally we would be bogged down and have to set out. It's like, because you got to think about it. AI can do all the stuff that we can do, but it's not better. It's just that it can do it. And that, yeah, we'll still have to go through and make sure that what it's producing is, good enough quality that we'll give it a pass and say, okay, what you have produced is something that we'll post out that we're proud of posting out there. And just recently, YouTube has just today, or no, yesterday, uh, anything that you post up on YouTube video now, if you use AI for any kind of image generation or any video aspect, you do have to mark it as AI generated. That because yeah, there is a large proportion of the audience or the people out there that, yeah, I understand that they have a fear of what AI is capable of. And yes, it is something to fear, but don't let it dictate how you interact with the rest of the world or how you interact or create your own content. Have fun with it. Try different things. But I can see with like the deep fakes and how I was just I think it was on Threads, and someone had posted up how it can change out the words of this little clip in a movie. It'll change it from like an R-rated to a PG-13 movie. It changed the F-bombs to like freak, freaking, or put it in Japanese or Spanish, and especially with making sure the lips or looking like that person or the actor was speaking the language correctly, not just something that was dubbed over. That's actually pretty cool technology that you can integrate that. We have that now. Mr. Beast and a lot of other people on YouTube had in the past made several different channels that were like in Spanish or in French, and they don't really have to do that anymore because they can let AI scrub through their videos and say, yeah, read my lips. And basically make it like they're speaking Japanese, and they can cater to an audience that normally they would have to outsource to, like translators, and sometimes the translation gets all messed up or it doesn't sound correct. And I forget, I think there's somebody had explained it with like translators and having your video translated, and how the translator can get the connotation of what you're saying because the cultural difference. They don't have the understanding of how certain words and phrases are used and different contexts and how it is on their cultural side. So there's a lot of different things that can, with human wise, can cause some issues. So if there are anything with AI, is that we have to learn to embrace it, because it is not going anywhere. It's here to stay, and we can let it take over and become, a Terminator, kind of thing, or we can actually embrace it and use it as just another tool to use in our tool belt to make our lives a little bit easier. Because we all remember before at the birthing of the internet, it's like, or computers, it's like, these computers, they'll make our lives a lot easier. We'll be able to drink mimosas on the beach while the computer and technology is dealing with the hard stuff of work and labor. Well, unfortunately, that did not become true. Is this, for some odd reason, we decided, oh yeah, we can do more work. We can, instead of 20 hours worth of work, we can do 60 in the same amount of time. It's like, well, we kind of screwed ourselves in that aspect. So hopefully smarter people than I would take the reins, use AI as more of a tool to try to make our lives a little bit easier, try to offload some of the stuff that we usually would do. Well, again, I know I kept saying this, is edit, make sure, overlook what the AI is producing just to make sure it's correct. But I always want to say that I use AI in my workflows. I use it constantly for writing out, figuring out ideas, titles, and doing descriptions where I can go through and have it read my transcript and say, hey, take this and summarize the transcript. Okay, fine, I'll do that. And I'll say, okay, now put in time codes for the YouTube video. Give me a keyword listing or comma. What is this? Write me a comma separated keyword listing for a YouTube video with under 500 characters. And it'll do that for me. And of course, yeah, I have to go through it because it'll misspell stuff. Hell, I misspell a lot of stuff. I'm not perfect. Neither is AI, but we can use that to make our lives a little bit easier. And if anything of all of this, of my rambling tonight, is to say, AI is not to be feared. Just use it to help yourself to make better content than you normally would do, and to not burn out, and to make better content. That's all I'm saying. Now, if you enjoyed watching this episode or listening to this episode, make sure you go ahead and visit twotonewaffle.com. Be much appreciated. I have a newsletter every week called the Weekly Waffle that I go through different aspects of content creation, of alternative platforms and indie gaming, all within a weekly newsletter that goes straight to your inbox. And also, I would love it if you would write a review or put a review on Apple Podcasts. It'd be anything that you want, like a single word. Maybe, let's say, let's do a word like whatever, apple, or poop. Give a poop emoji, or I don't care, something. Let's write a review, please. But anyways, thanks for watching or listening to the Independent Creator Podcast, and I'll see you next time. Later, taters.